Welcome to 60 Minutes. Today we will be having a debate on energy. I'm Nathan Lee, your host from CNN. Here with us today we have Dr. Song from the nearby Zion Power Plant and Dr. Mitzvich from the World Coal Association. First, let's look at the science. How is nuclear power created, Dr. Song?
It can come from nuclear fission or nuclear fusion reactions. The whole world is made of atoms with nuclei of protons and neutrons that are constantly trying to achieve stability, just like all of us. Elements with too many protons want to get rid of protons by splitting in nuclear fission.
And at what point are there too many protons?
This tends to occur past 26 protons, where the element is past iron, which is the most stable.
So what exactly is nuclear fission?
When a neutron is fired at the nucleus and absorbs it, it splits and releases energy. Uranium-235, for example, releases barium-141, krypton-92, 3 neutrons, and a lot of energy.
Exactly how much energy is released?
Well, if I can remember correctly, it's 3.24 times 10 to the negative 11 joules.
That doesn't seem like very much. How does that make enough energy to power all these large plants?
When one atom undergoes nuclear fission, it releases 3 neutrons that causes a chain reaction because the 3 free neutrons hit other uranium nuclei and cause them to react in a similar.
Very interesting. If this process multiplies threefold, how do you control that much energy?
In nuclear reactors, we use control rods to keep pieces of uranium separated. They absorb some of the neutrons that fire from the uranium, so the reaction is contained.
So how does fission actually translate into the energy that powers our home?
Fission generates lots of heat, which is used to turn turbines in the same way as classical coal generators.
This nuclear fission process seems square. Let's see what the dark side has to offer. And by the dark side, I mean coal.
Hi, Nathan. You seem to have a pre-existing prejudice against coal. Why is that?
Well, I am a news host, and I do see many reports that have portrayed coal as a negative source of energy for the environment and efficiency. Would you say it's not a source of air pollution?
Despite the fact that coal creates air pollution, nuclear fission produces extremely harmful products that are difficult to control and can leak into the environment, potentially harming the environment more than coal.
Isn't air pollution also really hard to control?
Yes, that is true. But on the other hand, the radioactive waste produced from nuclear fission is a lot worse than air pollution. Radioactive waste is stored underground or underwater, and it will sometimes leak, causing devastation to the environment.
Wow, I had no idea nuclear power plants could be this harmful. It seems that to choose nuclear or coal would be like choosing the lesser of two evils. Is there another source of energy?
Whoosh! That teleportation takes a lot of energy. It probably used energy made with fusion. Just kidding. But if we invest in fusion energy, we can make a lot of technological advancements.
What's fusion energy?
Fusion energy is when 2 smaller atoms crash together at high speeds and fuse into one larger atom. This reaction usually occurs between atoms of hydrogen for the purposes of nuclear fusion.
That does indeed seem pretty cool, but is this a better alternative to fission and coal?
Sure, fusion creates much more energy than fission does, and since it happens between smaller atoms, the resulting atom is still pretty small and is not as harmful as fission.
If it's such a good idea, why don't we use it now?
Fusion energy is still in development at many reactors around the world. One of said reactors is called the ST-40 and is owned by a company called Tokamak. They predict that they would be up and running by 2018.
If it produces so much energy, doesn't that make it even harder to control than fission?
It isn't too hard to control because it isn't a chain reaction. The problem is that fission only occurs when it's really, really hot. That's one of the reasons why fusion is still in development right now. It is hard to contain all of that heat in a way that the fusion reaction still occurs. However, we are well on the way to fusion energy being the energy source of the future.
While that does sound like a great source of energy, we have no guarantee that it works as we cannot predict the future. However, coal we know works, and it seems to be a much better alternative at the moment.
However, the problem is that coal is way too bad for the environment.
Do you know what happened at Chernobyl or Fukushima?
Yeah, sure. Would you care to explain
Well, you
that?
see, a meltdown occurred in both of these locations. This was when the nuclear power plant produced more heat than it could manage, resulting in the loss of lives of many people.
This did happen, but it is very rare. Overall, nuclear energy is a much better source because of its, 1, sustainability, and 2, its overall better impact for the environment.
I still think coal is the better alternative. Until fusion is made more reliable and fission made safer, there's no point in looking anywhere but coal.
Whoosh! It seems that fusion is a common endgame, but both sides still believe their sources of energy are superior to the other. That's all the time we have today for this debate. So if you ever fish near Chernobyl or Fukushima, make sure your fishing trip doesn't turn into a fission trip. Thanks for watching this debate on energy here on 60 Minutes. This is Nathan Lee, signing out.